Hey guys, Rhino50 here with some more World of Warships Legends content for you today. Today I've got a video in the Azuma, and I kind of wanted to go over the video, the gameplay, and kind of the process of what I was going through in the game and maybe assist you guys in some future gameplay. Now the Azuma was given a buff a couple updates ago. Since then, I believe it's, I like the ship. I think it's a decent ship if you're looking to get a premium cruiser. It does not have radar, so that's one thing that I'll discuss in this video of how to actually use the ship without radar in a match that has a lot of destroyers in it. Now I have the luxury to where I'm in a division with some friends of mine that I division up with, and I'll kind of talk about how we division play when none of us have radar and kind of the mindset there. So what I'll do is I'll talk a little bit about the Azuma, but I'll basically talk about, kind of the tactics and what led into, what we were thinking in this game in order to get the destroyers off the board and move into a position where we could potentially win the match. So let's get the video started here. Now, as you see, I run Isoroku Yamamoto in my Azuma, where he has the AP pen multiplier. I have Einstein as an inspiration and in Membelli for the reload. Obviously, the Azuma has a pretty slow reload and very slow turrets, so I use Einstein for that turret boost to get that extra oomph, so I'm not out turning my guns all the time. One of my pet peeves with my ships is out turning my guns. So we're loading into a standard match. Again, I am divisioned up with my friends Vidar Odinson and Super Omega Aid. And you'll kind of see one is in the Weimar, I believe, and the other in the Plymouth. And the Plymouth does not have his radar equipped. He's running smoke. So you'll see there that there's the Plymouth and the Weimar. And you'll look at the beginning of the match right off the bat, 4 destroyers on each team, and we're not running any radar. So with that, our mindset is, of course, we're going to stay as close as possible together, use our sonars to our advantage, and to try to spot those destroyers, and also good map awareness and kind of what you're watching for in the game in closing that distance with some of these destroyers and not being torped at the same time. So you'll see it's a capture the base match, basically, and we're going to secure, obviously we spawn on the right side, we're going to secure the right side. Now here I'm just slowing down to see, can I get a spot of anything? Obviously, we don't know what's out there yet. The other team has, a Kutuzov, an Ochakov, an Atlanta, a lot of fire starters, a lot of AG on the other team. And you'll see that we have an extra battleship where they have an extra cruiser. There's the Kutuzov. Now we're going to push out here to the right. See what else we can spot. You'll see I didn't have a located indicator on my ship, so I wasn't being detected by any destroyer at that point, or at least any destroyer that has twist and track or anything that way. So my squad mate smokes up in the Plymouth. You'll see everything goes dark. So at this point, it's my job. I determined that I need to get out here and spot. So 1, he's not going to waste his smoke. And 2, out of the HP pool, I have a little bit more and a little bit stronger ship. Again, I don't want to get shot in the side. But, we're going up against a Kutuzov that's just barreling straight ahead on the enemy team. And this Ochakov in the back firing HE. As I'm kiting away, trying to avoid his HE shells and provide fire on the Kutuzov so we can get him off the board quickly. I just continue to move right so I can get behind some island cover and maintain spot as long as I possibly can. Kutuzov goes down to Super Omega in his Plymouth, and I move past with one fire, letting it burn. Again, you don't want to put out fires right away, especially if you got one fire and you don't need to. Now I'm dark. Figure one, I can probably put out the fire and be okay. And then my spotted indicator shows up right there. Tells me those torps we saw earlier just a second ago going in towards the Plymouth. Obviously destroyer torps. I didn't address that. That destroyer kept moving right, same direction I was moving, and now has spotted me. So I figure he's off right of my ship. So I believe he's out in here, this area over here. And so I'm positioning my ship where I'm not going to get hit by a full bank broadside of torpedoes. And then you'll see I'm turning out as well while I'm shooting at the Ochakov as it's spotted to avoid the potential torps that are on their way. So now I know he's got at least, probably 120 seconds, maybe 100 seconds for a reload. Get a quick shot on the Ochakov before I'm behind an island with my rear gun and end up taking him out with that shot. Once I saw that destroyer was there, I activated my sonar, or it felt that the destroyer was there and spotting me. I activated my sonar, and again, very, very helpful in this instance where I have, I believe, a 4.5 kilometer detection for the sonar. Close that distance and get in there. Also having Super Omega right behind me, where he's going to take the left side of the island. I'm going to push the right side of the island, and we're going to get this destroyer, attempt to get this destroyer off the board as quick as possible. Now my sonar is going to end here in 5 seconds, but I know I've closed that distance within spotting range of that German destroyer, so he's going to be spotted. 4.5 kilometers away, HE, and now he's pushed out in front of Omega on the other side. So we're in great shape here. You'll see he attempts to smoke up, goes dark. Now it's just close that distance before his torps reload that he fired on me. We've got to close that distance as quick as possible, get him spotted, and anticipate a torp launch that I can nose into and try to avoid as many of those as I can. While we're doing this, you'll see that my other teammate in the upper map there is also covering and moving with us. So now that we've got the destroyer off the board, we're going to turn and come back and cover the crossfire angles from the other ships from the center. Now if you look, our base is undefended. There's nothing back there. We have our battleship, which I believe is of Vladivostok, in the center of the map, and our other battleship, I believe it's a Colorado. I have to look back at the video, or we'll see it here later. Way off to the left side, they're trying to cover their left side against 2 destroyers. So we're heading back to the base. We're going to cover the base. Those destroyers can obviously avoid any battleship there or take them out on the way over and be right in our base. As the Jean Bart shows up, immediately he's center map with our Vladivostok. Basically they're bow tanking each other at this point, and there's going to be a massive problem for Omega in his Plymouth and Vidar Odinson in his Weimar if we don't handle this Jean Bart. They will not be able to get back, probably without, at least losing one of the ships on the way over there, sailing, predominantly broadside to get back to the base. So with my HP pool, I have nearly a full health ship. I've got a really good ship with AP damage and HE damage. It's my job to assist our soon to be dead Vladivostok in getting that Jean Bart off the board and eliminate that crossfire. As soon as the cruisers in my division move around that island, they immediately spot Benson and Atlanta that are pushing the Vladivostok from the center. and moving forward. And you'll see that Benson is heading straight for our base as well. Fire a couple shots on the Jean Bart that was backing up, just letting him know I'm there now, and he decides to immediately move forward. Benson's in a position where he can move right into our base and stay undetected. I don't care if I have AP or HE loaded, I'm taking that shot. You know, any damage I can get on a destroyer when I see a destroyer, I'm taking that shot if at all possible. I wasn't able to shoot at any other target on the map, might as well shoot at that. You know, your hierarchy in gameplay in ships, in World Warships Legends is you want to get, if you spot a destroyer, get the destroyer off the board. If there's a radar cruiser, you need to get them off the board if you have a destroyer on your team. And then work your battleships and things that way. I mean, you have destroyers, and good radar cruisers can control a game hands down. Bad destroyer play loses so many games. Good destroyer play wins so many games. So ideally, get any destroyer you can off the board when you can get it off the board. And obviously, to protect your destroyers, get the radar cruisers off it as well. Jean Bart's backing up from the Vladivostok, which we basically saved his life there by rolling in there. Get a great 10,000 hit on the Jean Bart, hoping for a Citadel right under that back gun. Wasn't able to punch the Citadel, but I did get a good 10,000 hit. Now I'm just moving in, staying somewhat angled. Fire another one, trying to get a Citadel under that gun. And you'll see here, when I zoom in, after that 10,000 hit, his back gun underneath, right next to his turret, is knocked out. So the Vladivostok knocked out that one gun. So I'm thinking, well, we can turn that to our favor and take out his other gun. So now the Jean Bart's the largest torpedo in the seas right now. At that point, I know I'm no danger of getting hit by main guns right there from him. I turn out so he can't ram me as he starts moving forward because, again, now he's the largest torpedo. Now I'm just dealing with his secondaries. Probably should have held that shot a little longer because you'll see I ricocheted and broke up a lot of shells on that. If I'd held it a little longer, probably would have had him dead right there. So anyway, I'm going to move around him, wait for my guns to reload, turn inside, fire the last salvo, and get him off the board. And he was able to get the Vladivostok off the board before we got him. Now you can see the other two destroyers, the Benson, I believe that was, I can't remember if that was a Benson or which one that was. It just went down to my teammates who've now basically made it back to our base to cover it pretty much uncontested after that point. So they don't have to worry about the Jean Bart anymore. They were able to take out the Atlanta and now one destroyer on the way back. So the Benson, they pushed him right out of the base. And you'll see that they're basically kind of, running together side by side. I'm getting to a position where I can get in that 8 to 10 kilometer range from them, to where if a destroyer shoots between us, we're going to spot on a detection, depending on what type of destroyer it is, and keep them from pushing back into us or around us to get to the base. Now, there's one destroyer we haven't seen yet. That's the Loyang. So at this point, we're trying to figure out, okay, where's he going to be? I'm anticipating he's to my right. And they're anticipating now that the Benson could either have moved to the left behind the island over there that you see on my left side, and is moving there, or potentially moving right to get back in between us, like I said, and cut that gap. So you'll see that Omega and I are kind of pushing together and closing that gap between us to make sure that destroyer can't basically go right in between us undetected. So now I'm detected. I'm within 12.1 kilometers of the Benson at that point, just trying to figure out which way he's moving. I don't want to move too far back towards our base, as I also believe that, again, the Loyang's to my right somewhere. So I am changing direction, avoid any torps that may come, and continue to move that direction, also to help support our battleship over here. As I do that, Benson torps come out on Omega, and by looking at the angle of those torps, you can tell right there the Benson is moving to the right, so he's coming towards me as he fired those torpedoes, at least. And then here comes another set of torpedoes for our King George. Those obviously are Loy Yang torps from, and also moving from left to right as well on that torp drop towards the King George. You see on my map, I'm going, okay, well, obviously Loy Yang's over here. Benson was moving towards me, and hopefully he didn't get spotted by Omega as well. And so at this point, I don't want to get in that area of those 3 islands. I don't want to get inside that. That to me is a danger zone where I can't avoid torpedoes. And I just want to get to a point where I can get close enough where I can radar, potentially spot any torps my way so I know what direction the destroyer's at, and also get to in a position where I can fire. So I turn on my sonar immediately. Luckily, 4.4 kilometers away from that island, you see that Benson did move right. He moved right in behind that island. Now he's basically trapped, because you can see we've got a picket fence coming, and we're just pushing, and where he can't get between us, he's either got to push back to the back of the map, but now no matter where he moves, he's going to be spotted. I mean, it's just inevitable at this point. So I slow down, change directions, change speed a little bit, and just wait for him to pop out, because he's on the run. We'll take him out. That's our 4th kill, by the way, on this. And now it's finding the Loy Yang. I know he's over here to the right, or he has been. So now we can basically switch, start hunting him, and or head to their base. Our base is covered. He's not going to get around us. My sonar right here picks him up. He did move to the right. And from here on out, we have 33 seconds left in the match. One thing here, you'll see, I cut my shot probably too low for HE, especially on a destroyer. I think if I had kept it up a little higher, maybe one of those shots don't go into the water, and I just kill him right there. So now it's just like, his torps are in the water, 12 seconds left, 6 seconds on my reload. And I'm the only one in a position where they can actually fire on him, well, at least right now. And we go ahead and take that destroyer out for the Kraken. Not a lot of damage. I mean, you're not going to get a lot of damage in a 4-destroyer match game as far as damage on ships, especially one where they had an extra cruiser and only 1 battleship. So wasn't a lot of damage to be had in that. However, you can kind of see how, working as a division, we killed 8 of the 9 ships in that game. And also we're able to move in a position where, moving together far enough apart, but yet close together, to where you can eliminate, destroyers getting between you, getting past you, flanking you. And we were able to use islands to flank destroyers on that first destroyer kill. We used the islands to flank the Jean Bart. And we were able to use the islands on the last 2 destroyers to basically move in a position where I could sonar, detect them, get in a position where I could fire on them as well. So that's kind of how, I recommend division play to be done in a cruiser play when you don't have a radar on your ship. And at that point, you got to hunt the best you can. Take the destroyers out first, radar ships if they're out there as well. And hopefully this helps, gives you a little idea of how to work as a team and get some wins, get that win rate up. And that way we eliminate the fact that the red team can't dominate every time. So hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe for more World of Warships Legends content, and I will see you next time.